Hi guys, I'm Sarah with athriftymom.com.
And I'm peeling an orange.
And she's peeling an orange, and I am making what we call funeral potatoes. I don't know if that's just like an Idaho, Utah thing. I know some people have no idea what I'm talking about when I say I'm making funeral potatoes. I know Cracker Barrel calls them like Southern style hash browns or something like that, Southern style casserole. But for us, we've always just called it funeral potatoes, and we've called it funeral potatoes because normally we're making it for a funeral, and that is exactly what I'm making it for. One of our close friends' wives passed away, and so I was asked to help with the funeral dinner, which will feed the family after the services. And that's tomorrow, and this is the great thing is, hey Ashley, hey Andrea, hey Freedom, hey Guadalupe. I have a super busy day. In fact, I have to go to the dentist here in an hour. Hey guys, hey Daisy. But tomorrow's even more busy, and the funeral's in the morning. So I'm gonna prep this casserole today, and then I'll have it in the fridge, and then tomorrow morning I can pull it out, cook it, and then get it to the funeral in time. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. And as you guys know, a lot of times I don't have the recipe written down. I'll kind of jot it down afterwards, but you guys can watch how I make it. I'm not gonna actually bake it today, I'm gonna bake it tomorrow. But this isn't something this is a great side dish for feeding a large group of people, and it's budget friendly as well. Okay, so we're gonna start off, and it makes me laugh because I've done a couple recipes with you, and these are like literally the only recipes I even use cream of condensed soup, but that's what we're using. So yeah, you guys call them party potatoes. Party potatoes would probably be a better sounding option, actually. So first off, you do start with 2 sticks of butters, but half of one of the butter is gonna be to butter the topping. So I'm going to go ahead and melt both of the stick and a half of butter and put it in. Yeah, so I'm just gonna make it, and like I said, it's great for like parties, family reunions, anything where you need to feed a large group of people. And the fact that you can make it the day before is awesome. Okay, so there's my butter, and I'm just gonna stick it in here, and I'm going to melt it. Okay, and then next I'm going to put my soup in here, and this is 1 can of cream of chicken.
Can I put it on?
Yeah, but let me run the, scoot back just a little bit. Good girl. Okay, so I'm gonna run the knife around it so it all comes out, and then you shake, shake, shake it. There you go, like nobody's business. You're the best little can shaker helper ever. All right.
I want to do that one too.
All the time. Rich and fattening.
I can
for
smell
sure.
it now.
It's not a healthy side dish, but it's one of those comfort foods. And like I said, after my aunt passed away in November, and so for one of the few times I was on the receiving end of receiving dinner from the church congregation after a funeral.
My onion.
No, your onion's still over there.
Daily.
Instead of, because normally I'm the one helping prepare the meals for the family that have lost someone, and that time I was on the receiving end of being able to eat
use my onion.
the meal. Well, I thought you wanted to eat your onion. We're not eating this. This is for church. Okay, so we have both of those in there, and then we're gonna add. Do you butter? It's the worst. I don't know. Maybe it will happen live. It doesn't normally happen for me. Okay, and then we're gonna put 1 pint of. Hey, baby, no, it's hot. Mama's gonna get it. Nope. 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 Because I don't want you to get hot with the hot. Here, you shake this in. Okay. I don't want you to get burnt because it's hot butter. What is that? Cans of cream. It was 1 can of cream of chicken, 1 can of cream of mushroom. All right. So right now you can tell there's just a lot of dumping.
Ew.
You can either lick it off because it's sour cream, or you can wipe it off, whichever one you want. Okay, then you want to pour your hot butter in there. Pour your hot butter in, or I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, Madeline, that's hot, baby girl. Okay, and then don't wash this just yet because you're going to use that again for your cornflakes. You can just totally use 2 cans of cream of chicken, correct?
In that time.
Okay, so we have a can of cream of chicken, a can of cream of mushroom, a tub of sour cream, and then a stick and a half of butter, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of garlic, minced garlic. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of onion powder.
You better put on your hand, then put on my hand.
No, because the powder might get in your eye. I'll have you help with something else. And then I'm going to add probably about 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning. Taters, always crunchy.
Mom, are we using the onion?
Yes. So Michelle, if your taters are always crunchy, here is the solution to that. You want to thaw your potatoes before you start it, because the recipe actually calls for frozen potatoes. But the problem is the frozen potatoes have a hard time getting cooked there in the middle. So honestly, a lot of times, probably because they're not from Gary's Garden, they're from Walmart. If you guys know, we have a neighbor over behind us, and he's at 67, and him and Madeline are best friends, and she loves onions, and so he gives her onions from his garden, and his onions are sweet. Walmart's onions are a little hot. Okay, so I'm gonna, another thing is a lot of times people don't like the crunch of the onion. Yes, you can have an onion. Watch out. No, I want your fingers back. I don't, hang on. Let me just cut them up. Try to mince your onions as tiny as possible. That way people don't get the little crunch of the onion. But to solve the crunchy potatoes, when you put the butter in the microwave, what are we making? We are making what's called, we call them funeral potatoes, and I'm making them for a funeral. But basically it's an easy potato side dish. In our church, just keep your fingers back. Normally when someone passes away, the church will provide, or the congregation, the members of the church, okay, grab one, will help provide a meal for the family after the services. That way they don't have to, after they've gone and done all that stuff, they just can come back and sit down and relax and enjoy a meal. This service is actually tomorrow, but I don't have time to cook this tomorrow before the funeral because I'll be attending the funeral myself. So I'm prepping it today. I'll put it in the fridge and then I'll cook it tomorrow morning. But back to the potatoes. Go ahead and thaw your potatoes and then go ahead and put them in the skillet and actually warm them up. You're not going to cook them. You're just going to make them nice and warm, okay? And then when you cook this, yes, my daughter loves onions. She's sitting here just eating onions like an apple. If you kind of pre-cook your potatoes a little bit and then add it all together, when it cooks, it will actually have time to cook everything through, and you won't have crunchy potatoes anymore. Yep, she loves raw onions. That's why I said the neighbor gives her onions and she eats them like an apple. She loves them. But Walmart ones are a little spicy, and she gets a little aggravated that Walmart's are a little spicy. They're not sweet like Gary's onions. And this one is, it's making my eyes water something fierce. I'm gonna have to go wipe my eyes here in a second. All right, so I am just, so did that help with the tip? Have you ever actually like kind of started pre-cooking your potatoes before you put them in? Make sure they're totally thawed and even start pre-cooking them slightly. And that will help with you not having crunchy potatoes in your casserole. Because I used to have the same issue. And then I would cook it and then the bottom would get burnt, but the middle would still be kind of crunchy. Oh, thank you. You're so sweet, Victoria. Ooh, I'm going to have to go wipe my eyes, and because these onions are, whoa, don't put your hands in there when I'm trying to chop, baby girl. All right, so I am like mincing these onions to where they're just going to be teeny tiny little pieces. Is that way too hot?
No, I bite myself.
Oh, you bit yourself? Whoa! These are hot onions. My eyes, I need those onion goggles. Okay. So I'm going to put those onions in here. Woo! Can't even see anymore. And I'll be right back.
My eyes are watering.
Did you guys see the snot going down my face? Ooh, it made my eyes water. It made my nose run. Woo! Those are some potent onions.
Those are yucky onions. They smell weird last week.
They smelled weird last week?
Yeah, you said. Because I heard you.
I just said they were really smelly. Oh, whew. Man, knock your socks off. Thank you. All right. So now I have everything in here and we're gonna mix it all up. Okay. Like I said, this is not necessarily a healthy recipe. This is Southern comfort food recipe. Okay. No popsicles. Those are for when you guys have sore throats, not just to eat. Okay, so I have all those in there, and then we're gonna salt. We're gonna pepper. And remember, potatoes need a lot of salt, so you're probably gonna wanna get a good, at least teaspoon of salt in here. Not right now, baby girl. This is my home. We actually lived without kitchen cabinets for 3 years. We were in the middle of a kitchen remodel. We remodeled it ourselves. So if you actually go back to some of my old YouTube videos, you'll see I did all my videos with no kitchen cabinets. Okay, so, oops, and then we're gonna put cheese in. And you put about 4 cups of cheese. And I never measure my cheese.
Can I have some cheese?
Rinse your onions before you chop. Takes away the tears. I have to try that.
Can I have some cheese?
You can. Okay, so 4 cups of cheese, which is basically for me 4 handfuls of cheese because I don't measure. Okay, if you want some cheese, sneak it out of that. Okay, so now we're going to put this in there. It smells like Play-Doh. That's great.
But it might taste good.
Okay, and the recipe doesn't call for this, but this is looking a little thick. Sometimes you'll notice that your sour cream, some brands are thicker than others. So I'm actually going to add probably like 1/4 of cup of chicken broth in there. What did I put in there before the onion? A stick and a half of butter, a tub of sour cream, a can of cream of mushroom, a can of cream of chicken, onion powder, garlic, and ranch seasoning. Okay, so there we go. Doesn't that look delicious? Now we are going to open this up. Where did my knife go? And like I said, these I'm not going to cook till tomorrow. So if I was going to cook this for my actual family, I would go ahead and heat these up and have these all not cooked, but warm, okay? But since I'm not cooking it till tomorrow, it's going to be sitting in my fridge. I'm not going to do that because it kind of defeats the purpose. But these are all thawed, okay? So they're not frozen. Well, they're partially frozen. But, okay, so I'm going to dump those in. And then I'm just going to mix it all up. And this is a 4-pound bag of hash browns. And we're making this with the intent to feed a large group of people because it's for, I think they're planning on feeding 150 people at the funeral. So I'm obviously just part of helping with that. I think this will probably maybe do, I don't know, 15, 20 servings of potatoes. So corn flakes, I'll show you here in just a minute. Okay, so you got to get in there and really make sure it's all coated well. And the reason I always put the like the liquid stuff in first is that way I can make sure that's all incorporated and mixed up really well before I add the potatoes. We use Cheez-Its. Never tried corn flakes. Cheez-Its would work great as well. Yeah, here in Idaho, it's always corn flakes. At least, I mean, everybody that I've ever seen make it. I think different parts of wherever you get your recipe from, it's going to be slightly different. Okay, so there we go. That's what it looks like. Doesn't that look delicious? Okay, so now it's going to, and yes, my hand's all gross. Whether you eat out or no, or not, you will, and I think you'll be like, oh my goodness, you're a dirty cook. But if you ever eat food from a restaurant, guess what? Someone's hand probably looks like this at one time or another, especially if they're making in large quantities. Okay, so I'm going to plop this in the pan. we're just gonna spread it out. And I think I'm actually gonna have too much for this pan. So this is probably going to make almost 2 pans worth. So I'm gonna actually go get another pan. Italy Kitchen last week. Yum! Okay, hang on, I'm gonna wash my hand real fast because I gotta go get. Okay, so I only asked to bring 1 pan to the funeral, so that's gonna be the funeral pan. And then, as many of you guys know, I've been cooking for my uncle whose wife passed away. So since I have extras, I'm gonna actually make him a pan. That way I drop food off at his house every Tuesday. Try to do it every Tuesday, sometimes I miss. So we're gonna make him a pan as well. Okay. And then, like I said, we're gonna have even extra, so then I'm gonna make a small pan for a side. All right. So this recipe will make, the funny thing is I normally make it in like one big giant casserole dish that I have. But for the funerals, we always do it in disposable. That way you don't have to worry about getting your dish back. It's delicious. Bacon and all, or green onions, you could totally put those in there. You can customize this to whatever your family's needs or wants are. Potato chips, that would be delicious. Aw, Tammy, thank you. We love you too. I'm glad you love funeral potatoes. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's just like an Idaho, Utah thing. Most people I know really love them. My brother Josh doesn't like them, but then again, you know, hey, everybody's different. Okay, so this would have made either 2 large 11 by 13 casserole dishes, but I'm putting it in different ones because, like I said, this one's for the funeral, this one's for my uncle, and this one's just some leftovers. We'll probably have it for lunch. Okay, so now you can just leave it just like that. Me, I always add just a little bit more cheese on top because cheese makes everything better. And then we're going to put the cornflakes on top. Okay, now cornflakes, everybody has their own version of cornflakes that they put on. Some people are gonna put only like a teeny tiny bit on. I'm gonna melt my butter. And that's half a stick of butter. Everybody's gonna have their own however many cornflakes you want. As you guys heard, some people put Cheez-Its on, some people put crushed potato chips on. Okay, now when I started making this recipe, I was super poor. Still not a wealthy person, but I was super poor to the point when the recipe said, pour some cornflakes in a Ziploc bag and smush them up. It ruined the Ziploc bag, and I was like, I can't afford Ziploc bags. So this is a little trick I used to do when I was like really poor and I didn't want to use a Ziploc bag. So I'm gonna take, for this, because it's such a big thing, I'm gonna take about half of the bag of cornflakes. So that's probably like 5 or 6, probably about 5 cups of cornflakes, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna take this bag, and because this is a freezer bag, it's thick, okay? So all I gotta do is mash it up, and they don't come through the bottom, okay? I know, call me crazy. I'm not someone who even like recycles very much, but I'm all about repurposing. And believe me, once you use this tip, you'll be like, why didn't I think of that? Well, because you weren't poor enough to think about it. That's why. Necessity is the mother of invention or something. Isn't that what they say? Okay, so smush it in there. And what you have successfully made is small cornflake chunks, okay? And then we can save those to actually eat. All right. And, you know, because we have 2 pans, I'm gonna actually add just like one more little handful. The funny thing is it's amazing how these shrink down to almost nothing. I don't know if my comments just totally stopped or what. Last thing I see is love your boots, and I haven't seen anything in a long time. I think my comments stopped. Okay, so we're gonna smush these all around. Give them a big ol', if you're frustrated with life. And I tell you what, you do this with a Ziploc bag and they bust through. Cornflakes are happy little boogers. Can't think. You all right? Okay, so there we go. We smushed them up and we saved ourselves a Ziploc bag. Okay, now what I didn't do is normally this is in a bigger container, so I don't know if this is all gonna fit. In fact, I don't think it's gonna fit. So I'm gonna actually just use this container again. And I'm gonna put my cornflakes back in there, okay? And then I'm going to pour my butter over the top. Where did my spatula go? All right, I'm gonna get all that butter out. Kendra, I'll post the recipe, and then when this is over, you can watch the replay, hon. I'm in Caldwell. Okay, so now we're just gonna kind of whisk this all around. Okay, and these are gonna get all sorts of buttery, and when they bake, they're gonna turn nice and crispy. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so now we're back to our casseroles. Couldn't figure out where the beeping was coming from. It was from your microwave, all right? Okay, and this is how I do it. I always do the one I'm giving away first, make sure that they have adequate, and then if we're gonna skimp somewhere, we're gonna skimp on my own family, not on the one that we're giving away. Okay, so all this is this is just gonna be like a crunchy topping, and then we'll bake it. Okay, you don't want it like totally covered, you wanna be able to see the potatoes through it. And this one's for my uncle. And this one for my uncle, I'll just put the baking instructions on it and then send it to him that way. That way he can either freeze it or bake it when he wants it. And then this one for my family. Okay. Yeah, you ain't poor until you realize that a 10-cent Ziploc bag is more than you can afford. Those of you guys that have watched me for a long time know that the reason I started a blog is because I started a long time ago teaching people how to coupon. I don't do that anymore. We had a grocery budget of $10 a week. That was our grocery budget. We were trying to pay off debt, get out of debt, and that's what we did. Okay, so now you're going to cover these with foil, okay? You're going to cover these with foil, and then you're going to bake them at 350, and you're going to bake them for about 40 minutes, the big one. Now this little one is going to only probably need to bake for about 25 minutes. Basically what you want to do is when you make sure it's hot, bubbly, and it's cooked all the way through. Now if you do this and your hash browns are like frozen, you're going to need to cook it for a good hour plus. But since we started out and they're already frozen, and they're if I'm cooking it and it's already warm, it's done in 30 minutes. But if it's still cold, if it's still like when you touch it and you feel like you're going to give yourself a little bit of a brain freeze, you're going to need to cook it for a good 45 minutes, maybe even 50 minutes, okay? And a smaller pan is obviously going to cook for less. So I will kind of write up the instructions on here. And once again, thanks for watching my impromptu, we don't really measure, we don't really do stuff, but this is how I cook recipe. And thanks for watching. I got to get to the dentist, so we'll chat with you guys later. But these are going to go in the fridge until tomorrow, and then I'll bake this one tomorrow and then take it to the funeral with me. I'll give this one to my uncle, and we'll probably have this one as part of a side dish either tonight or tomorrow for our own family dinner. So talk to you guys later. Bye!